Hi everyone, in this lecture we are going to talk about Flex Wrap. Now we don't have any content within the body because to be able to talk about Flex Wrap we are going to have to create a lot more properties, more than 5. So I'm going to say I'm going to create a UL. Within the UL I'm going to create 30 LIs, and all the LIs are going to have almost the same content except for their number. Let's save that. So we have 30 LIs. The CSS styles are already being applied. So now let's jump into the remainder of the CSS. So what is Flex Wrap? First, let me just show you first in practice what it is. First, let's initiate our Flex context, and this is going to be display Flex. Now, what is the issue here? Now, again, I have said this once, and I will always keep emphasizing on it, that anything within CSS, HTML, JavaScript, Python, doesn't matter, Ruby on Rails, whatever programming language or framework it is that you're using or library, all features, I mean, you may not be able, practically you cannot think of every single feature in depth, but you need to keep this in mind as a general rule, that whenever you're trying to solve something, then that you can use that specific tool. Or maybe I've just explained it in reverse. Now, whenever you're trying to use a tool, keep in mind what kind of problem that tool is going to solve for you. If it doesn't solve anything for you, don't use it. Please don't use it. Follow the dry principle. Don't repeat yourself. Don't use that. Keep your code as clean and as short and as concise as possible. Keep it short and clean. Now, if the situation arises that you need to use a specific property, a specific function, a specific loop, only then just go ahead and use it. Otherwise, don't do it. Now, the issue here is that, again, this is not practical to think of all the logic and the commands, think of them in this term of practicality, but just keep that in mind as a general rule. Now you can see that because we have 30 items, we are ending up with a horizontal scroll bar. But if the horizontal scroll bar is not a component of your website, this is one of the most horrible things. One of the most terrible things that you can do in web development is to create a horizontal scroll bar. Now, sometimes, like in 0.001% of the times, this is a design choice. But this time, it is not that. Okay? So what is the issue here? Because if we go full screen, we can see that we can only see 22 list items, and the rest of them, they're overflowing to the right. So what is Flex Wrap going to do for us is going to check that any other elements that are overflowing beyond the page, they're going to go to the next Flex container line. So now this Flex container line, this Flex container has only one line. We could change it to 2 lines, 3 lines, 10 lines. Doesn't really matter how many lines, but we could technically do that. So let's go ahead. Because Flex Wrap is a Flex container property, we are going to apply it on the Flex container. So we're going to say Flex Wrap. No wrap is the default value, default. So what is the other value? Flex Wrap. You could say wrap. And when you set it to wrap, it doesn't matter how small the window gets. It's never going to create that horizontal scroll bar for you. And they're just going to be shifted to the next line. And now we can see how dynamic this is. It's a little bit flickering because of my OS and because of the fact that I'm recording, but I'm sure it's going to be smooth for you. See, it's being shifted to the next line. This is what is a step towards making our websites more responsive. Now we also have another value for Flex Wrap, and that is a wrap reverse. And when we save it, it is going to be wrapped in reverse. So first we have item 1 to 7, then it is going to start item 8 to 14, then 15 to 21, and all the way to there. And if you come here, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then starting from the bottom and going up. With this, our lecture comes to an end. See you in the next one.